Hey guys, it's Allie again, back to show you a few more features that Inkscape has to offer. So we're going to open Inkscape, and from here you guys know how difficult it is in Design Space to work with cursive fonts. It is just a big pain in the butt. Cricut really needs to fix that altogether. It's just terrible. So let's use the font text option over here, the big A. And we're going to click and let's type out sentence. I'm going to click on my little arrow. Let's zoom in and make this a little bigger so we can see what's going on. Double click to get back into where I can erase the font or change it. We're going to pull down the drop down bar. And let's pick a downloaded font that is a cursive font that we may have installed at some point from an outside source, like the font or somewhere. Okay, so that one's kind of thin. Let's do a different one. This is one of my very favorite fonts. Okay, so whenever you do fonts in Inkscape, it already connects everything for you. It's good to go, but there's a big catch. So right now it's in font form, and although we can actually just go over to Design Space and type in our font and it's ready to be cut, that is not the case in Inkscape. So if we typed this out and then we were to save it and go and upload it into Design Space, it will not upload. It will give you an error and it will say that it cannot import, that there were elements that were not able to be imported. And that is because we have not created the actual cut lines. So Design Space does that for you. And Inkscape, you can create that, but you have to physically tell it to do it. So in order to make this where I can just upload it right into Design Space, there's just pretty much one quick, simple step. So I've got my font typed out. I've got it highlighted. I can go up here to Path and then Union. Okay, and the way that we know we always want to double check and make sure that it worked was we're going to click on the Edit Paths by Node, and if you can click it and it shows the nodes, then you know that it has made it in SVG. So let's type out another sentence. Okay, make it big. Now if I click the Edit Paths by Node, nothing happens. It's not doing anything. No nodes are appearing or anything like that. So even with non-cursive fonts, we still have to go to Path, Union, and then if we click on the Edit Paths by Nodes, they appear. And then once we save it right here, we can upload it right into Design Space and it's good to go. Now, one of the huge things that so many people in all of my craft groups talk about is how to do an offset, or how to do two-layer color fonts. Inkscape is the easiest and best program out there, in my opinion, to use. So we're going to go over that. Once we have created the font to an SVG, and by that, again, means making it have the nodes, we're going to unselect everything, so make sure nothing is highlighted. Make sure nothing's highlighted, click your paint bucket. And then we're going to go up here to the grow shrink option. And we're going to make this by about, let's say, 3.5. I like, and my color over here on the right is black. Let's change it to something that's seeable, so purple. And we're going to zoom in and we're going to click on the letter itself. Now, I don't want to have to do each one of these separately, so I'm going to hold down Shift and click my E and then move, hold down shift, click the A, move, hold down shift, and continue on, holding down shift and clicking everything. Now I'm going to zoom back out, and I'm going to click the little cursor button, and as you see, it all appeared. Now I want to see how much of an offset it actually is. So in order to do that, you can do it by going up here and going Object, lower to bottom, or on your keyboard, as you can see, you can press the End button, which sends it to the bottom, or you can use page up, page down. So those are just shortcuts. You may find it easier while you're learning the program to just do everything by searching for it up here in the toolbar. So lower to bottom. And as you can see, we have just a little bit of color behind this, the black. So if we click off, and now we can click the black, as you can see, I moved it. Let's go Edit, Undo. We're going to change the black to, let's say, a green. And then I want to change, let's zoom in, click on the purple, and we're going to change it back to black, because that's typically what most people want to have, is a black behind or a white behind a colored front. So now we have our shadowed font. If for some reason you do not like how much is showing and you want it less or more, we can just click undo and or Control Z, go back to the very beginning and just erase everything and start over. I typically only do 1 or 2 letters, check it, and then decide. So let's increase it to around 4. We'll zoom in, we'll do this one word, lower it to bottom, check and see if I like it. Okay, let's say I want it more. So let's do Edit, Undo, get rid of it again, try it again. Let's bump it up to 5.5. Try it again, lower to bottom. Okay, now I'm liking that it's nice and bold. So now I can go ahead and finish the rest of it. And we're going to lower it to bottom, and then just highlight everything, object, group, so that they're together. And there you go. There is your shadowed or layered, people call it lots of different things, your two-toned font. And the same exact thing you would do down here. You could even do it the opposite way. So we could go minus, as you see up here, my grow shrink, I'm minusing it out. So let's minus 4 and see how it looks. Okay, the reason I don't like doing it this way is look at how the font looks, or the fill, I should say. It's not right to me to do it this way. It doesn't look good. It's choppy. I mean, if you like that look, that's your choice, you know, but me personally, I don't like how it looks that way. So I'm just gonna erase it, Control Z, go back up to my plus. So we're gonna do plus, let's do 4.5-ish, and hold down shift and do all these. Now, see how the middle of this A has such a tiny little opening? Your machine will probably just eat that up, or you're going to have such a very difficult time trying to weed that out. It's just going to be a pain in the butt, not worth it. So to remove it, just double click on your color, or go over here and select by node and just erase that middle opening, because once you lower this to the bottom, you can't even tell that it was supposed to be there. It was so tiny. You got to think, this is, right now you're looking at this word, because this box is a piece of computer paper. So this is 8.5 inches wide. So this wording is, let's say, 10 inches. So if you're really going to put this on something, bring it down to the 3-inch mark, and it looks tiny on the screen, but that's how Inkscape is, because they have so much room for you to be able to work. So, okay, now we have our shadow font. Let's just save as, and we'll just name it font. And then we're going to go over here to Design Space. And upload it. Font. And there we go. You see it right there. Insert it in the page. And there we go. We can ungroup it, remove those out of the way. And there we are. Nice and layered for you already. Good to go. So that is how we create shadow font in Design Space. Now, I'm going to erase everything here. Another cool feature that you can do in Design Space is you can actually create from scratch your own cut lines. So if you go over here to Draw, you can physically come in here and do whatever you want just by clicking and dragging. Then whenever you're finished, you can right click and there's your line. Now, doing this, these lines are very tiny. Even like when you go to cut them, they're really small. So the only thing you can really do is go back to your paint bucket and go in here, oops, and fill in to make the line. So I typically don't use that feature because of that reason. It is a pain in the butt. But another cool thing you can do is let's draw a triangle. Okay? And then let's fill in the triangle with color. So we just highlight it and we're just going to make it a color. Let's make it blue. Okay. Now we're going to right click and we're going to copy it. Okay, so we're copying the triangle. Now if we go back over here to the Brazer tool or the Draw tool, and it says shape. If we drop this down from clipboard, because whenever you copy something it gets copied to your clipboard, and then let's do this squiggly path. So we're doing a squiggly path. I'm finished, right click, and look at what happened. Because it took it from the triangle image, that's why you're seeing it go skinny to big down to skinny. So we can do it again by using a triangle out, which is a pre-done setting, and it kind of does the same thing. It's much smaller, but the line is there and then it trails to nothing. And then triangle in would be the same thing. It's a big line, trails to nothing. Eclipse, it makes it skinnier on the ends. And then bend from clipboard. So the best thing to do is, if you're wanting to make your own kind of swooshes and swirls, is just play around and see what looks right. So let's try, I've never tried a circle, but I'm curious. Oh, copy, and then from clipboard, let's see what happens. It probably won't do anything. Oh, it makes a big jumbled up mess. So that's just something you can play with, but it is an option to do. Now, one thing I forgot to mention to you guys is if you, well, let's do this. Let's open an image. Oh, it opened it in a new file. Okay. All right. Let's convert it real quick. Do our brightness steps. Ungroup them. Okay. Now we're going to have to go through here and look and see which one looks the best. Typically it's hard to see. I can highlight all these and change all at one time, and we can tell that this is the original since it didn't change colors. So I'm going to get rid of it. And this one's not very clean. That one's not. This one's not. This one is pretty close. This one here's pretty close. So either one of these, I'll just go with this one. Okay. So here's our image. I'll turn it back black. Now, if we want to rotate this, if we're highlighted on the image, you can see that there's the up and down arrows. If we click it one more time, now we see there's a rotate arrow. And if you hold down, if you hold down Control, all right, image. Okay, hold down Control, it will snap rotate in increments for you, or if you do it just manually without holding Control, it just rotates however you do it. Now, if we're highlighted on the image and we want to, right up here on the left, we want to flip it, we can flip it upside down. We can flip it to where it's mirrored, or we can rotate it using the options up here. So the mirroring it comes in handy if I wanted to create a duplicate of this and have them facing each other like so, then that comes in handy. Same thing like whenever you're doing HTV and you mirror it so that it cuts correctly, same type of thing. So that's another option that you can do in Inkscape. So like I said, just the more you mess with it, the easier it will become, and just try to figure it out and work with it, and you will not be sorry that you invested your time in learning how to create your own SVGs, because it is so much nicer to be able to create the things that you want to or that you have in your mind without being limited to the free online converters or asking someone else for help or just giving up on your project because you can't get it to look right. So take the time, download the program, try to teach yourself and learn, watch YouTube videos. There's a ton of them out there. Hopefully this video helps you figure out some stuff, and just enjoy crafting. So thanks guys.